Good evening, I'm Sharaad Kuttan and welcome to Consider This. Today we continue our discussion about productivity. You know, the Malaysian Productivity Blueprint of 2017 identified several areas and industries to champion growth, professional services being one of them. Now, to help me understand better the role of professional services in the economy, I have a great pleasure, Mr. Choo Kok Beng. He is a member of the Malaysian Board of Technologists. He's a civil engineer by profession, and he specializes, it's said in some websites, in cement and concrete technology. I think that's one of your areas. Yes. Rehabilitation of buildings as well.
Correct.
Okay, Kok Beng, let's begin with professional services. You're a champion. We understand that you're identified to help lead several areas, and I understand there's 6 disciplines that come under professional services that go from engineering, legal, architectural services, accountancy, advertising, and management consultancy. Now, sounds like a huge area. How are these all united? I mean, what exactly are professional services?
Professional services, I think it's important for people to know what is a professional. So everybody can be called a professional, but
I consider myself a professional.
Yeah, professionals. Yeah. So basically, a professional person will be somebody who has got some appropriate education, not necessarily high-level education, but complemented it with a lot of skills, right? And is able to perform what he professes in a very ethical manner. The important thing is ethical. And then for him to be recognized as a professional, then he should be a member of any of the professional institutions that exist in this country. We have many of these professional institutions in this country. For example, as an engineer, I'm a member of the Institution of Engineers Malaysia. When I joined the Institution of Engineers Malaysia, and I go through the professional assessment that's conducted by the institution, and I pass it, of course, and then I become a corporate member of the institution, then I reach the stage that I'm a professional. I can provide competent services, and in a very ethical manner.
Right. But I do want to ask you, though, when we look at the problems that each of these professions might have, right? Don't they vary to such a great degree that it might not make sense to actually lump them all together? Or is there something that unites them?
By the nature of a professional services, actually they should all be complementing one another. Like for example, if you talk about a huge engineering project that's going on, you need architects to be around, Then you need the legal people to be around. They need to look at all the legal matters which the engineer and architect may not be so clever. Then finally, they also need to have the accountants to make sure that all the financial matters are handled. So I think in this manner, this is how the professional services can complement one another. So your question was very good, You see it to be a very complex situation. The reality at this moment is a very complex situation, because all our professional services, they work in silos. So the biggest challenge that we have nowadays is how can we put all these silos together so that they complement one another, and then you can greatly increase the efficiency, and as a result of that, your productivity will go up. So this is one way to look at it. Okay.
Tell us a little bit about the history of services in Malaysia. I mean, what can we glean from that? I mean, what lessons can be learned?
If you are a student of history, you will know that services started very, very long ago, during the time of when Malacca was a trading nation, and at that time, that was where services were started in Malaysia.
These would be like medieval guilds that we've seen in the European context. Yeah. Is it blacksmiths coming together, and so goldsmiths coming together, moneylenders coming together, and such?
It was more a trading nation, because of the position Malacca is in, and Malaya being a very small country, we don't have all these goods that the East and the West need to trade. So we position in Malacca became a very famous and prosperous spot by just providing services. We make sure that the goods that are going from the east to the west, going through the Straits of Malacca, is able to go through in a very smoothly and safely, and not disturbed by the pirates. Those days a lot of pirates. So by providing this kind of security services, we became a very rich nation, and we became so rich that the Portuguese wanted to conquer us, you know, and they did conquer us. So I think that we have this DNA of services in our makeup already. So it's not surprising that going forward for the 12th Malaysia Plan and ahead, the government has wisely decided that they want to focus on professional services.
Okay, so you mentioned that the professional services are in silos, and one of your tasks is to somehow get a conversation going between these different groups. But there are also specific areas, right, in terms of challenges, in terms of workforce, industry structure, business environment. Talk us through some of the key elements of those challenges.
In terms of workforce, I think we are very fortunate that in Malaysia, we have got a very strong educational system. We have more than 130 universities. We have maybe about 200 polytechnics and community colleges, you know. So we are very fortunate that for a very small country, we produce a lot of people who are quite well educated.
So the quality of those institutions are up to mark.
They produce, they're up to mark. But so the challenge to us in this case is the various professions, they may have specific requirements for what the graduates should be good in, so that they can fit into the industry very well, you know. So this is one of the issues that we are sorting out now. So to match the industry requirement to the supplier, which is from the education side, you know. But
and how difficult? I mean, be completely frank with me. I mean, how difficult are these attempts to align education institutions, market needs, which are obviously changing all the time, industries' needs, and even just within the professional services, many of whom I'm sure will try and protect themselves against a flood of new entrants, right?
The advantage we have in this case is that we benefited from the British legacies, you know, that we have a lot of professional bodies which are very strong. Like for example, the architects are very strong, the engineers are very strong, medical association, the legal bar councils are very strong. So they are in a position to influence the educators, what is the kind of graduates that they want. But of course, it's all the time a big tussle because things are changing, you know. Then at the same time, these professional bodies are very well set up to conduct the training that's required when the graduate gets into the market.
Like professional training.
Professional training, you know. So we are very fortunate in that sense. We have a lot of such professional organizations, which we now call them civil society organizations. We don't call them NGOs anymore because NGO is not a very good word. So the civil society organizations, they play the role in training the members to be more competent, to be able to meet with the requirement of the industry. So we have this advantage that exists in our framework.
Okay, we'll take a short break. We'll be back with more. Stay tuned to Consider This.